So I'm going to hand it over to Mark so that he can share more about the utility electric role.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, nice to meet you all. My name is Mark. I've been on campus in this position for 10 years. Previous to that, I was in the IBEW for 10 years, and I did my apprenticeship through them. So at the age of 21, I became an apprentice, worked my 5 years, got my license, did some work there, and then I came here. So a typical day for us can be various things, helping other trades throughout, but our main goal on campus is to provide power to all our buildings, right? We can see the lights here, but we work on the outside. That's bringing our high voltage power, which could be, from 13,000 volts, stepping it down to 480 into building power. So a big portion of that is maintaining that system to make sure that it functions correctly. So if power goes out, middle of the night, phone rings, we got to be here. That's the most crucial part of our job, is maintaining building power and also our street lights. So you'll see our street lights, which are 480 volts. We work all the way to that. So we work out of the CHP as well, and we do a lot of work there. And we have a substation up at Tilson, which is 115,000 volts from Eversource. So the voltage is different than your normal electrician who works on outlets, which are 120 volts. In some commercial applications, it's 277 volts. But we step it up to a larger scale, which means larger risks, right? So we wear protective suits when we're working on live energy, and we take the precautions and we train for that. So we are very cautious, and working together with one another, you have to be safe. We go into manholes with live power, 13,000 volts. So you need to be aware and trained, and we have a lot of great electricians on our crew that are aware of those hazards, and we have a great support system throughout the campus to ensure our safety, which is obviously the most important part of our job, beyond just keeping power to everyone so that we all can function together. Okay? I think that's pretty much the basis of what our core job is. We do a lot of things outside of that, but that is really the core of it. So if we have any questions from anyone, I can answer anything as far as what we do, or any questions you have related to even the electrical field. So. So we work Monday through Friday, 7 to 3 o'clock. Again, we are called here and there, so we got to be ready to go. So that's part of the gig. It's you can't just leave. You got to be a phone call away, because if power goes down to a crucial building that is running research or something like that, we have backup generators and stuff like that we use, and we have a pretty good system that we can transfer power on an issue, but we still have to be there. So I think that's a very important part of our job. So the minimum requirements are driver's license at this point. Our end goal is, myself, I have a commercial driving license. So I have an air brake, we have a line truck that we use. So through that process, you're going to have to gain your commercial driving license, which is great, because that's a great thing to have in your pocket, right? I have a commercial driving license that the university provided for me, free of training. They trained me to get that license. They gave me everything I needed to succeed in that, and I was able to obtain that on campus, which was great. I also obtained a hoisting license. We have a boom truck. We lift poles out of the ground. So we have a rope system, so we need a hoisting license. That one's a lot easier to obtain. It's a simple study test class. You can go and apply. That's more reasonable, and there's a lot of people on campus with hoisting licenses from A, Bs, and Cs. So that's pretty good to obtain, and a commercial driving license is normally a 2-week process where you study, you go to the school, they teach you everything you need to know. So that's a great one, and you take a test through the state just like your commercial driving or your Class D, so that's a good one. And then schooling at night, to be an apprentice is a tough job. You're almost the person at the bottom who almost has to pick up the slack and learn so much on the job while working and doing a heavy manual job. So you need 8,000 hours. 8,000 hours. Typically in a year, you can get 2,000 hours, right? So in my apprenticeship, it took a little longer. It took me basically that 5 years is what we call, but it's 8,000 working hours. and then you go into your schooling hours at night. So when I was going through my apprenticeship, it was work all day, school all night, work all day, school all night. So it was tough. But when I got that, we call it a ticket. When I got my journeyman's license, it was a reward. It was something that no one could take away from me that I worked at, and it was something that I'll have for the rest of my life. It's a badge of honor, and I think as you become an electrician, I'm proud to be an electrician. I tell my friends, you say, oh, you know, they introduce this Mark, it's an electrician. Oh, hey, can you come to my house and help me out? You know, so that's normally how it goes, but it's a good thing to have. Beyond here, there's great money to make on the outside too. You know, I go and help people out all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think that's a good question. Thanks, Danny. Yes. So the classes, so for me, my class system was set up differently, so I wouldn't know exactly, but I believe the class system is something that they're gonna look into, but it could be, I know that the community colleges offer programs to do that at night, and sometimes I've heard it's 2 nights a week, could be 3 nights a week, and I believe it's 500 hours. You know, basically you become a high school kid, again, a high school student almost. You follow their schedule in that college schedule. You're basically a college student at night, and you're an apprentice during the day, you know, and you learn a lot of stuff. What is a big part of the apprentice school is math. We use a ton of math, you know, so algebra and stuff like that are requirements. So I know that a lot of the times the schools may not even accept you unless you have some sort of algebra degree from your high school in that case. And that was my case. So I had to go and take a test to apply and be accepted into a program. So a lot of the times that's a requirement, so. Yes.
So I read in the word that to take the class, you have to work full-time UMass, a full-time job. And I guess the class is going to be in the night, right? And then start working in the morning.
Yeah, so yeah, you would come to work every morning. You would meet us. We'd work 7 to 3, Monday through Friday, and whatever schedule you determine to work in the program that you find, I'm sure that they will help you as much as they possibly can to get you into a program where then you'd probably leave work and you'd go and maybe school starts at 5, maybe school is 6 to 9. That's what I did, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. every night. You know, I did it 2 times a week, and then we did additional training outside. And you know, the good thing about that is you meet people that are also going through the same thing as you. You know, they share the same struggles as you, because it's not easy. You know, we have families, we have things in our lives that come up, and you know, when you're working full time and you're going to school at night, it's tough. But at the end of the road is the golden ticket. It's the reward that you've accomplished something that no one can take away from you, and it's a great, great thing to have in your life, you know. So I'm glad that I did it. I look back and I say to myself, you know, as a young kid, I was making decisions. What do I want to do with my life? And you know, and someone happened to know someone, and they're like, hey, why don't you go try this? Greatest thing I ever did in my life. So I'm happy that I did it. So thank you. Yes. As far as in our department, so there is overtime opportunities. Yes. So, but your main schedule would be that Monday to Friday. But we have scheduled, you know, because if people are working in a building and we need to do maintenance on it, it's called a shutdown. So we put in a notice, we shut down the building, but we unfortunately can't shut down the building when we have 100 people working in it. So we have to work around everyone else's schedule. So that can be inconvenient at some points, you know, or maybe we're coming in at 5, 6 in the morning, or, you know, we do maintain the solar too. So, you know, we can't work on the solar during the day because it's not as safe. So we try to work on it at night when the sun is there and we have protocol in to work on that. So a lot of the times we do a lot of off-shift work, and a lot of the things we do too is we support events. So we'll come in and we'll provide temporary power. So a lot of the times you'll see the students in bounce houses and stuff like that. Well, we're the people behind the scenes providing power for them so that they are able to do those things. So that happens nights, weekends. You know, like this weekend we have a chef's convention at the student union. So they're gonna bring in a generator. We're gonna go temporarily hook up power so we can provide 800 amps for them to have their show. Well, we have to be there Sunday night to make sure this generator is functioning and this event's going on. It's just part of our requirements, so someone has to step up and do that. So there are definitely opportunities to make some extra hours, and those would all count towards your apprenticeship too. So, you know, in a normal year, we get 2,000 hours, but maybe if we have a busy year, you gain another 500, and you're able to do it in 4 years, 3.5 years, you know, as long as your schooling's done.
I was just wondering what future projects on campus that utilities or electrical team will be working on, kind of like big, broad plan.
So we're in the process right now. We have steam on campus, you know, and our steam has issues sometimes. So we have a physical plant which we house all of our, you know, construction, design, our employees. Most of our trades are working out of this building. So we had a steam leak. It leaked in, and steam and electricity do not mix well. So we had an outage. So we had a big explosion, boom. So now we have to figure out, like this, how can we restore power safely and quickly to get this building back up. So in the process of that, we fixed it temporarily, and now we're trying to bring it back up to standard code. So we're installing transformers at the physical plant. And we're also, our next step is gonna be electric cars, right? We're seeing an electric car, you know, come through. So all our new fleet wants to be electric. So if you'll see in the physical plant, we have stub ups, you know, and those will all become electric car chargers. So we're responsible for that through a grant through the state so that we can provide power for that. So that's a big job that we're doing, and we're also, you know, always maintaining the lighting throughout. You know, at the stadium, if you've ever been down there, it's a little dark, and we're moving into a different division. We want to, you know, be more aware of what lighting is on campus and make sure that safety and lighting are connected. So we're going to add lighting through there, and we're going to brighten that area up, and that's one of our big jobs, as well as we have a lot going on right now. So thank you. Mm-hmm.
Say you complete your hours, you get your journeyman's license. Where is that good for high voltage and say you want to go work residential?
Your journeyman license carries all applications of that. Now, on the side of that, we have done high voltage training, and high voltage, or we call it medium voltage really, is a very, very small aspect of the electrical field. You know, I would say that you're gonna learn more on the medium voltage than 99% of all electricians who do not work on medium voltage. You may meet, you know, 1,000 electricians and one does medium voltage. It's a very, very, very niche thing to what we do, you know. And even for me, I didn't work on medium voltage until I came here. You know, I had always done commercial electricity. You know, I'd be the guy in here running all your lights, your 277, all the outlets, all that stuff I learned. And then I got familiar with doing electrical services, which is, you know, your meter housings and stuff like that. And that interests me, providing power to buildings on the 480 side. I loved it. It was great for me. I'm running conduits underground. I'm doing more of a bigger equipment stuff and switch gear. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. But a lot of electricians go towards maybe, I want to be a fire alarm electrician, or I do want to be just a residential electrician, you know? There are a lot of different avenues to take. But this avenue for me, zero regrets, you know? So I'm glad I'm here. But it's not for everyone. But again, you learn so much here that you could be, you know, said, hey, I do like medium voltage, but really, I'm a licensed electrician now, and I prefer to do other stuff. There's other avenues that may open up for you down the road, you know, because you have the golden ticket. I call it again, you know, it opens up so many doors for you because you can do anything with it. Because if you're trained in that, you can do anything. You can become anything within that electrical field, from fire alarm to even data. We have data electricians who work on Cat 6 and stuff like that, and that's all based off your electrical license. So, thank you. Danny, what do you got?
So when you say the ticket,
Yeah.
now is that your license that you pay for or not the state? That's your license?
That's my electrical journeyman license that I paid for, that has my name on it, that gives me the ability to work anywhere, you know, and when I was a union electrician, it gave me the ability to work anywhere in the United States or Canada.
Not just UMass.
UMass, the only thing that UMass requires is us to hold it, but it's not specific to here. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.